For centuries after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, Europe lived in the shadow of a vanished power. Rome was gone, but its memory never faded. Its laws, its authority, and its vision of a universal order continued to shape the ambitions of kings, popes, and entire nations. The Roman Empire had collapsed, yet the idea of Rome itself refused to die. The great question of medieval Europe was not whether Rome had fallen, but who had the right to inherit its legacy. By the late 8th century, Western Europe was deeply fragmented. Political authority was divided among competing kingdoms, tribal territories, and local lords. Warfare was common, borders were unstable, and central governance was weak. In this fractured world, the Christian Church emerged as the only institution that transcended regional boundaries. While kings ruled lands, the Church ruled souls, offering a sense of unity in a divided continent. It was within this context that a powerful Frankish ruler rose to prominence. His name was Charles, later remembered by history as Charlemagne. Through relentless military campaigns, Charlemagne expanded his realm across much of Western and Central Europe. He conquered the Lombards in Italy, subdued the Saxons after decades of brutal warfare, and extended his authority from the Atlantic coast to the borders of modern-day Hungary. Yet Charlemagne's ambitions extended far beyond conquest. He sought to restore order, learning, and legitimacy to a Europe he believed had fallen into chaos since the collapse of Rome. He reformed administration, standardized laws, supported education, and promoted what later became known as the Carolingian Renaissance. More importantly, he presented himself as the protector of Christianity and the rightful successor to Roman authority in the West. On Christmas Day in the year 800, inside St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, Pope Leo III crowned Charlemagne as emperor. The act was deeply symbolic. With a single ceremony, the Roman imperial title was revived in Western Europe, now infused with Christian meaning. The message was unmistakable. The Roman Empire had been reborn, sanctified by the Church, and entrusted to a Christian ruler. This moment marked the ideological birth of what would later be known as the Holy Roman Empire. However, from the very beginning, this new empire differed greatly from ancient Rome. It had no fixed capital, no unified legal system, and no centralized bureaucracy capable of enforcing authority across its vast territories. Power rested on personal loyalty, feudal obligations, and fragile alliances between the emperor and regional rulers. After Charlemagne's death, the empire was divided among his heirs, weakening its unity. Over time, the imperial title survived, but real authority fluctuated dramatically depending on the strength of each emperor. The empire gradually evolved into a complex political structure composed of kingdoms, duchies, principalities, bishoprics, and free imperial cities, each with significant autonomy. By the 10th century, the empire increasingly emphasized its sacred character, becoming known as the Holy Roman Empire. The emperor was viewed as the secular guardian of Christendom, while the Pope claimed supreme spiritual authority. This uneasy balance created one of the most enduring conflicts of medieval Europe, the struggle between imperial power and papal authority. At the heart of this conflict was the question of investiture. Who had the right to appoint bishops and high church officials? For the Pope, spiritual authority came directly from God and could not be granted by any earthly ruler. For the emperor, Bishops were also feudal lords who controlled land, wealth, and armies, making them essential to imperial governance. This struggle reached its climax in the 11th century during the reign of Emperor Henry IV and Pope Gregory VII. Their confrontation led to Henry's excommunication, undermining his legitimacy and triggering rebellion among German nobles. In one of the most dramatic episodes of the Middle Ages, Henry crossed the Alps in winter and stood barefoot in the snow outside the castle of Canossa, seeking the Pope's forgiveness. The scene became a lasting symbol of the tension between political power and religious authority. Although temporary compromises were reached, the conflict between emperors and popes never fully ended. Over time, imperial authority weakened as regional princes gained greater independence. The empire became increasingly decentralized, with local rulers acting almost as sovereign monarchs within their own territories. Unlike hereditary monarchies, the Holy Roman Empire relied on an elective system. A small group of powerful nobles, known as prince-electors, chose the emperor. This system turned each succession into a political negotiation. To secure election, candidates often granted privileges, lands, and rights to the electors, further eroding central authority. By the High Middle Ages, the empire consisted of hundreds of semi-independent states. Free cities flourished through trade. Ecclesiastical territories were ruled by prince-bishops, and noble families exercised near total control over their lands. The emperor's authority was more symbolic than absolute, rooted in tradition rather than enforcement. Still, the imperial ideal endured. Emperors continued to see themselves as heirs of Rome and defenders of Christian order. This vision was especially strong during the reign of Frederick I, known as Barbarossa, in the 12th century. He sought to restore imperial authority, particularly in northern Italy, clashing with powerful city-states and the papacy. Despite military successes, his efforts were ultimately constrained by resistance and the empire's fragmented structure. In the 16th century, the empire faced one of its greatest challenges, the Protestant Reformation. Initiated by Martin Luther, the movement shattered religious unity within imperial territories. Princes adopted different confessions, weakening the emperor's ability to govern a divided realm. Emperor Charles V attempted to preserve Catholic unity, but his reign was marked by continuous religious and political conflict. These tensions eventually erupted into the 30 Years' War, one of the most destructive conflicts in European history. The Holy Roman Empire became the central battlefield, suffering catastrophic population loss, economic devastation, and social collapse. When the war ended, peace treaties formally recognized the sovereignty of individual states within the empire, effectively stripping the emperor of meaningful authority. By the early 19th century, the Holy Roman Empire existed largely in name. Its political relevance had faded, and its structure no longer reflected the realities of power in Europe. In 1806, under pressure from Napoleon Bonaparte's military dominance, Emperor Francis II abdicated the imperial crown. After more than 1,000 years, the Holy Roman Empire officially ceased to exist. Centuries earlier, the philosopher Voltaire famously remarked that the Holy Roman Empire was neither holy, nor Roman, nor an empire. While the statement is often repeated, it oversimplifies a remarkably complex institution. The Holy Roman Empire was a long-standing attempt to unite faith, tradition, and political authority in a deeply diverse Europe. The dream of a new Rome was never fully realized, but its pursuit shaped the political, religious, and cultural development of the continent. More than a state, the Holy Roman Empire was a historical experiment that endured for over a millennium. Its legacy lives on in the borders, institutions, and identities of modern Europe, reminding us that power is not only measured by force, but by ideas that survive long after empires fall.